What's going on? How are
Hey,
you?
how's it going?
Good.
Doing pretty well.
You're under the politics
So,
tag? Where would you say you stand politically?
uh, libertarian on the right,
On the right. All right. What would
just
you?
somewhere over there.
Yeah. What would you say is an issue you're passionate about?
Issue I'm passionate about, probably just underlying, I'd like to have as much freedom and liberty as possible
Okay. So
across.
across the board. All right. So freedom and liberty. So like a topic like abortion, you're pro-choice then?
So I would actually, be, pro-life on that. Yeah,
Oh, so you're not about
that's where
So you're not about maximizing freedom?
I align. For, so, okay, so when I say freedom, I mean we should have as much freedom as possible, but we shouldn't murder people,
Sure. Wait.
right?
Sure. Yeah. But I
Like I
mean,
said.
at least I just don't understand how any libertarian could ever be pro-life, considering just a simple argument around individual rights. Like you should never have to use your body
Right.
to sustain another person's life. Like
Yeah, no,
that's the most antithetical to a libertarian position, right? Like you guys don't believe that the government should be able to force you
right.
to wear a mask, right?
Right. That's why I'm a conservative libertarian. I have views that a Republican share and libertarian
Oh,
share.
okay. So you just like, use different principles and logic depending on the issue.
Sure. Whatever you want to call it.
So,
Sure.
but that doesn't make that okay. Fine. Well, let's try to establish some logical consistency here. So
Okay.
I'm trying to understand. You're like well, let's even I'm not even gonna have a whole philosophical discussion on the value of a fetus because I don't think it's relevant to this discussion with you being a libertarian. So I guess this is just the argument I would lay out for why, as a libertarian, conservative, whatever, it just really makes sense for you to be pro-choice. It would be, are you a big fan of the Constitution, stuff like that?
Yeah.
Big fan of the Declaration of Independence, inalienable rights, stuff like that?
Sure, of course.
Yeah, so if we're looking at something like the inalienable rights outlined in the Declaration of Independence, that is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the initial structure of that was life, liberty, and property, which was what John Locke came up with, the 16th century English philosopher. And we can see from a lot of Jefferson's writings that when he says pursuit of happiness, the only reason he says that is because not everyone could own property, including anyone who was other than white men. So he was like, well, we can't put property in there because that makes it a little bit too obvious. So, but it was very clear that pursuit of happiness was the pursuit to own property. So, kind of the argument I take when it comes to abortion and bodily autonomy and that sort of thing, at least when I'm arguing with someone like you or having a discussion surrounding freedom and individual rights, it would be, do you think the government should have a right? Because by extension, the reason that we have the ability to get a tattoo, do any of that, is, or like have control and dominion over our body is because it's self-ownership. We own ourselves. It's an inalienable right. So the question would be, does the government have a right to infringe upon your individual rights even on behalf of someone else? Because I think if we're talking about something like mask mandates, even like something more serious like organ donation, I think you and I would both agree that the government shouldn't have a right to tell anyone that they must, whether it be wear a mask or get a vaccine or whether it be, donate an organ or
First thing
something.
I Right. So first thing I want to do is help out your argument. So first, the Declaration of Independence uh, contract, it's not law.
Wait,
Which you would want to refer to the United States, and you can refer to the
Steer,
Fifth or 14th Amendment.
1 second. Can you not make my argument for me? I understand you're going to try to make a different argument, I guess, for me, but
Well, I was just helping you out
well,
there.
I don't need help out. I'm
Right.
talking
Like,
specifically. I'm not talking about specific law. I'm talking about principles and morals and ideals. I could make an argument from the Constitution if I wanted, but of course, when you usually make that argument, people are like, "Oh, blah blah blah. I don't believe in this part and this part." When we're talking about inalienable rights, these aren't stuff that most people disagree with. At least you say you agree with them. So I'm talking about like more like
right.
that sort of thing. So my
Yeah. So,
question, yeah, my question then comes down to, how would you, I guess,
okay.
yeah, sorry, you can go. You just sometimes break up, so I apologize if I cut you off. I don't mean to. It's just sometimes laggy.
So bodily autonomy. So I believe that we do have bodily autonomy and that the government should not be allowed to, force you to give your organs or give blood or whatever.
Sure.
However, your bodily autonomy is body autonomy.
Wait, sure. I never said it does, but can the government force you to use your body to sustain the life of another person? Do you think so?
Yes, whenever the alternative is murder.
When the alternative is murder, but we
Yeah.
would also have to define what murder means. Because let's look
Uh,
at, yeah. I mean, let's look at,
murder.
yeah.
Say murder. I'm using the lawful definition, which is the unjust or human being.
Oh wait,
Or
unjust.
unlawful
Well, sure.
is
So
really
sure, 100%. This is a moral argument.
it, any. self-defense, basically.
Sure, fine. Okay,
Even
so
in
sorry.
get convicted of murder.
Sure, sure. That's fine. But let's talk about, like, specifically, let's say that I hit you with my car and you need my kidney to survive. Do you think the government should be able to force you to give me your kidney or not?
No, of course not.
No? So explain to me why.
Right. Okay. So the problem with that now, so the fact of me not giving you that my kidney, that will lead you to die. However, it's different from abortion because while you do have bodily autonomy and you can choose, you can't really choose not to give the fetus or embryo the proper nutrition that it needs to survive.
Yeah, you
The
can.
only thing that you can do is stop by going to get an abortion, i.e., murder. It would
Well,
be like
sure.
I'm not going to give you my kidney, and I'm also going to go kill you.
Well, no, not necessarily. Do you know, like, there's types of abortions called hysterotomies? They don't directly kill the fetus, they just remove the support. Let's say, fine, if you want to make it more analogous, let's say that instead you wake up in the hospital connected to someone else's kidney. Should you have a right to remove your kidney from them?
You're wait.
Like, let's say
You're
you're no, no, no. They don't have.
connect-
You're connected. Let's say you're connected to someone in the hospital. You wake up. You hit them with your car. That's the reason why they have they need your kidney to survive. Do you think you should have a right to disconnect from them?
So yes, because letting someone die and going over there and murdering them is two different
So,
things.
but not so. And this is the killing versus letting die objection that I feel you don't actually stick to, because there are many different types of abortions. Some, such as the RU46 pill, which just prevent a certain hormone from going to the embryo, which cause it to be flushed out in the next cycle, or something of the sort, or something like an hysterotomy, which is basically where they remove the fetus intact, a pre-viable fetus intact and whole, and it dies due to underdevelopment. That's not
Okay,
that
wait.
that seems very
Right.
analogous
All right. Let
to.
me stop you. So I do want to say that I was not aware of this. I wasn't avoiding it or
Totally, you're all good.
no,
Yeah. So my
I was just
question, yeah, my question would be, your argument would necessitate that you think certain types of abortions, ones that directly kill the fetus prior to removal, are unjustified, but ones that merely remove it and then let it die are okay, which is a weird position to take, and I don't think one that you would actually ascribe to. But maybe, I don't know.
so okay. So what was the one called where you remove it in full and then it
Sure.
dies afterwards? What was that?
A hysterotomy, not a hysterectomy. There are two different things. Hysterotomy. Hysterectomy is removal of uterus.
Yeah, I'm just typing it down so I can do some research on it because I love to
Totally.
learn. All right. So that's sort of the evictionist argument, right?
Sort of. It's a slightly evictionist argument. I'd say it's more. I think it's to prove that the distinction you're making between killing and letting die is not really I don't think you care about that. Like, I don't think it's relevant to you, because if it was relevant, you would have to say that the types of abortions, like, let's say that instead of killing the fetus in the earlier stages and then removing it, we could remove it and then it would die. Like, does that matter to you? Like, I don't think that matters to you, does it?
All right, right. So, it does matter to me, and I completely disagree with doing that.
You
One thing
do.
is, okay, right, yes, I do. So, so let's think back. Okay, so let's say to the 1800s, right? Would you agree that the medical care and science has progressed since the 1800s?
Sure.
Okay, so you would also agree that the medical advancements that we made today uh, would be able to save a life today that wouldn't have been able to save a life in the 1800s because we didn't have it.
Sure.
Okay. So do you think that the life in the 1800s is
Wait,
worth less
wait
because
a second.
we have the
I think you're strawmanning a little bit, because I never made an argument about the value of the life. I never made any sort of personhood argument. I never made any sort of argument about the value of the fetus whatsoever at
okay.
all. Nope, never made an
Okay.
argument like that. Nope. So
Okay.
I
Right.
don't. Yeah, I don't think that
Okay.
pertains.
Okay, I got you. All
You're
right,
all
all
good.
right, I
Okay.
got you. All
So
right.
yeah.
So, okay. So let me rephrase this then. Do you think that okay, let me understand your position. So you say you said you never put a value on the life. So could
Well,
you
no,
explain your
I do make personhood arguments. I'm just not making one for the sake of this argument right now. I'm conceding that it is, because I think bodily autonomy is a fine argument. So I don't really feel like making a personhood argument, because I feel bodily autonomy is sufficient. I could make a personhood one, but I'd like to hear your refutation to bodily autonomy, because that's the more encompassing one that kind of puts the personhood debate aside because it's not relevant. But yeah.
okay, let me go well let's go back. Okay. So I do believe that everybody does have the right to their own bodily autonomy.
Okay.
So, and you brought up what was it?
Hysterotomy. I can try to type it in
Hysterotomy.
chat.
Yeah,
Hysterotomy. I don't know if it'll send. Sometimes they don't. Let me see if it's sent. Did
yeah,
it
I
send?
got it. And then what was the other one too? It was some.
RU40. Let me make sure I have it right. RU486 or RU486. I think it is. Yeah, RU4. Yeah, mifeprostone, progesterone blocker. RU486.
RU486. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I just put this in my notes so I can look stuff up later.
Totally. And those are ones that do not directly kill the fetus. They merely, the RU486 blocks the hormone progesterone, which results in the fetus being expelled because it blocks the hormone, as well as hysterotomy would almost be like a C-section of a previable fetus, where you, yeah.
It would be a C-section?
Well, but it's of a previable fetus. You know what I mean? Like it dies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then the what was this? RU486.
Yeah.
How long will that be effective?
I think it's usually until around 10 weeks, but I could be wrong. I don't. It's been a while since I've looked it up. You could probably find it pretty easily how
Oh,
long they can
yeah,
use
yeah,
RU486.
yeah. Cool. All right.
So
So
then, for sake of argument, I guess, does your position entail that you think that RU486 and hysterotomies are morally permissible abortions, but the other ones are not? Seems like just a weird
okay.
position.
So right. So right off the bat, okay. So let's say okay. So we're gonna say yes, and then going into the hysterotomy, the removal of the fetus or embryo, or well, I guess yeah, fetus or
Yeah,
embryo. Uh, so I would say I don't like that. I am morally against that.
yeah.
Uh, because I don't think that because science and medical
Wait, but I never made that
and
argument. I don't. How is that a?
right I'm saying because just because they haven't advanced enough doesn't mean that we should be able to do that. All right, I'm making this
Wait,
argument very poorly.
yeah. I'm just confused. So fine. Let's say science can progress in the future so that you can survive without a kidney, but in right now you do need a kidney. So it would be like, well, I don't think it's right for you to not give your kidney because scientifically in the future they will be able to survive. No, we look at science right now. We look at what we have right now,
All right,
and
all right, all right.
yeah,
Let's look. Okay, let's
yeah,
look at what we have now. Let's also take the law. Let's also take a look at the laws that we have right now. So a mother does have a legal obligation to care and provide for her child.
sure. And what
So
and by what means would you consider that? Like care and provide.
um,
We have to make two different
I'm not
distinctions,
sure.
right?
Right, I'm not sure what the legality of it is,
Sure,
but I'll just speak on what I am aware of:
sure.
food, water, clothing, shelter,
Bodily
and
organs? What
a
do you think? Do you think the mother,
go to school.
let's say that baby is born. This is actually a really good example. Let's say that baby is born and it needs a kidney dialysis that only the father can provide. Do you think the state should morally require the father to use his kidneys to dilate or what to provide for his newborn child?
I don't think the father can provide a kidney of that
Wait,
size to a
not
newborn
no. I'm
child.
not talking about like a kidney transplant. Kidney dialysis This is where you provide fluid, where you provide that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
That you
Well,
basically
no.
connect it. No, you don't think so.
No.
Why? That doesn't make sense to me. Because if you're expecting the mother to provide her body for 9 months for that child, but you're not expecting the father to provide a kidney dialysis to that child after it's born, like what? Why?
That's a good point you bring up there.
Yeah, I do.
So I would say, right. So okay. So I would say while the fetus is still developing and still needs the mother to live, I think the mother has the obligation
Mm-hmm.
that to care for that to allow that child to progress and fully develop.
The same thing happens in my scenario. The child. Let's even make the hypothetical a little more specific. It needs the father's kidney dialysis to
Okay.
survive. Do you think that he should be legally required to provide that?
No, because I think it would be a very scary thing if the government started rounding up people and forcibly taking their kidneys and
Wait,
kidneys.
wait, wait. It's the father. I think it's very scary if the government is now forcing women to be pregnant against their will. I agree with you 100%. Wait,
No, okay. So
we
right.
agree.
So
I
there
think it's
is
very
there's
scary.
a
I just want to point something out. I think the reason you think it's scary now, and I don't mean to be like mean, is because it might apply to you.
no,
I kind of
no,
applied the
no,
argument
no,
to men,
no.
to
If
people.
you would have no, if you would have said the mother in that scenario, I would have said the same thing.
But that doesn't
You
make
can use
any
a mother.
sense.
like,
Wait, but wait, how does that make it? So if the mother needed to provide a kidney dialysis to the child that was just grown inside of her for 9 months, but now that's too far? Like what? How does that make any sense?
Right. Okay. Because the mother would then be strapped down to a surgery table, cut open, taken the kidney, and
Wait,
then
no,
given
that's
to
not what
the
a kidney.
child,
Yeah. No, it would be like removing
or
fluid.
or
Fluid.
whatever.
Wait,
Yeah. What
so
the plastic, whatever.
wait, but how is that relevant? Still, pregnancy is in many ways the same burden on the mother. I don't understand how this differentiation that you're arbitrarily making, like that is what is too much. That's too much. But 9 months of pregnancy and morning sickness and gaining a lot of weight and having to take supplemental vitamins and all of that, that's not too much of a burden.
Well, it's not the burden. It's that the government would be forcibly taking you from one spot to the hospital, strapping you down
Wait,
and
it's not taking you.
taking
It's not strapping you. Fine. Let's make this argument so much simpler. And I'll
or
use
sedation.
yeah. I'll use the mother and father example here. I don't really think
Okay.
there's a difference between the government forcibly, forcing you to stay pregnant and forcing you to give your newborn child a kidney dialysis. Let's take the father for example. Let's say it's at the operating or right when she gives birth. She gives birth to this child, and now oh my God, it has blah 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 blah. Oh my gosh, the father's the only match. If we don't get a kidney dialysis from you in the next hour, your newborn child is going to die.
So okay, so no, I do
No.
not think that right. I don't think
But
that the government should
why
be
can
allowed
the
to.
government force that woman for a whole 9 months before that to carry that fetus? It's still using her body in virtually the same way.
Mhm.
What's the difference between using kidney fluid and amniotic fluid and oxygen and nutrients that the fetus gets through the umbilical cord? Like you're already forcing the mother to do that, but outside the womb, you can't force the mother to provide for her newborn child in that way?
Okay. Um, I don't have an answer for that.
Okay. I think it's something interesting to consider. I don't,
Yes,
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I would love to do so. I have what you the
Yeah.
hysterotomy. I don't really know how to pronounce it. And
Hysterotomy.
are
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
RU486. Take a look at them. I just think it's really interesting. If you want, it looks like links are finally sending. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy a link down here. It's basically, I will give you every single argument that I have on abortion if you're interested. I just kind of compiled it into a document that I think is interesting.
Oh
So,
yeah, definitely. Please send me the. Yeah,
I think
would
I
love to.
just pasted it. I have the document in my TikTok bio, or at least on the link tree. So I'll just drop my TikTok. Yeah, if you want.
Oh,
And you can
okay,
check
yeah,
it out.
sure.
And it's in there. Same thing on Instagram too, whichever one works. Oliver Niehaus, like that. You can check it out on TikTok or Instagram. All of that
That'll be
stuff is
easy.
there. So yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to take it. Wait. So on Instagram or on your TikTok bio, is it just the?
Wait, it's a
is it
link
just
tree.
the-
It's a link tree. So you click on that, and it's pretty obvious. It just says a case for legal abortion or something. It's a document there. You can find it pretty easily. Yep.
Cool.
All right.
All right, man.
Good
Well,
stuff,
it was
man.
good talking. You have a good night.
It was good talking with you. Take care. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. Yep. I know. I really do appreciate the fact that he admitted that he was wrong. I really do. I think it was good. I think it was good. Yeah, but men making that same choice, why is that wrong? 100%. Yeah, I think it was a very interesting conversation.